Welcome to the Apex Social Podcast. I'm Susan Acey. I'm the founder of Apex Social, and we are supporting care professionals, host families, children with all abilities in the United States, Australia, and in Europe.
Welcome, I'm Maren, and I'm the host of the Apex Social Podcast. I'm excited to take you on a journey to learn more about Apex Social and our mission. Welcome to our Apex Social Podcast. Today, I invite you to a nice episode about the differences in Christmas in the United States and in Germany. We said we want to record this episode in English because we also want to invite you as a care professional to share the knowledge about the cultural differences regarding Christmas with your host children and your host family. So take a second for yourself, relax, get yourself a drink, maybe your favorite Christmas drink, and come back to this episode. My special guest today is Denise, and I'm honored to have you here. Welcome, Denise.
All right. So thank you so much for having me today, Maren. So nice to be here. My name's Denise Mackey. I'm originally from Germany. I grew up in the south of Germany near Stuttgart. So it's about an hour from Stuttgart, close to the Lake of Constance. And I now live in New York on Long Island. So I'm not in New York City, but I'm on Long Island, which is about an hour by train to New York City. And I've been with Apex for about 3 years, almost 3.5 years at this point. I'm the VP of Talent Development and Academic Partnerships. So I work closely with our German teams and our talent development teams and also our academic partnerships. And yeah, I've been here in the US for, like you said, quite a bit now. I moved here for good in 2010. So that's almost 13 years ago I moved here.
Mm-hmm. Also meaning like you have a lot of experience in the differences of the US celebration for Christmas, and obviously you also like had a lot of like child and teenage and pre-adult experience in Germany with Christmas. So just a little teaser for everyone. Denise, you have also children here with your beautiful husband, and later on your daughter Kira is gonna come in this podcast and explain like her experience with the American culture and especially regarding Christmas and how you and her are preparing for the 25th present day in the United States. And I'm super excited to get to know her later and and hear her insights. So thanks for introducing yourself. My first question will be, can you tell us a little bit about your first Christmas in the United States?
Yes, so that was actually a really, really nice and wonderful experience that I got to have. So my very first Christmas in the United States was in 2004. At that point, I lived with a host family here on Long Island also. And it was really nice because the family that I lived with, the host mom was Jewish is Jewish, and the host dad is Catholic. So they celebrated both. They celebrated Hanukkah, which was earlier in December, and they also celebrate Christmas. So it was really nice to experience that with the host children. We did the 8 days of Hanukkah, and the kids had got little presents each night. We had nice dinners together as a family. But then we also celebrated Christmas, which I grew up with. So that was really, really special for me to get to experience both worlds.
Yes, amazing. So if you as a listener haven't heard our episode about Hanukkah, go ahead after this podcast and listen to this beautiful episode. We had a rabbi and his wife in an interview, and they celebrated with us together and taught us everything and all the details about Hanukkah and the history. And also there was a care professional in our recording, and she gave us amazing insights how it is to celebrate Hanukkah with a host family. And I have to tell you, one of the biggest benefits you get out of this program, for me personally, is the culture exchange and the learning about different cultures. And that's like such an enrichment and something you're going to have for your whole life. And no one can take this knowledge away and this experience. So yes,
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
I can see your Christmas tree or your Christmas decoration in the background, and I want to show you quickly my tiny Christmas tree. So for everyone,
Oh, that looks awesome. I love it.
this is my first Christmas tree I have for myself in the United States. And a fun fact about a Christmas tree is that this is actually a German tradition. So the tradition of Christmas tree came from a German, like through the German population to the United States. And in Germany, most people get like I would say, natural Christmas tree.
Yes,
So
absolutely. No fake trees in Germany.
yes, here in the United States, Christmas is definitely like way more marketing, like there's way more marketing behind Christmas, and Christmas here actually starts right after or direct after Thanksgiving, meaning like people hang up their lights on the house. There's a lot of lightning. I just talked to a care professional today, and she told me that, and she's in her first year, that she loves driving around at night or like after the sun goes down, and just looking at all the decorations. And I think like this is one of the biggest differences we can see here in the United States. The decoration is so much brighter and more, and not just at home, but also in the stores, in the malls, and everywhere you're going. So I would say that's like one of the biggest differences everyone can
Absolutely.
see.
And so much earlier than in Germany. In Germany, you usually start seeing people put up their Christmas decorations like early December, but here it's like way early, like right after Thanksgiving at the end of November. And I wish I could take you for a little ride up and down our street because there's so many lights out.
Yes, I would love to see that. So something else about the dates of celebration is that, like in Germany, we're celebrating Christmas Eve on December 24th. And most of the American families are celebrating not on the 24th. So can you give us maybe a little insight in the American culture, how like an American family usually celebrates Christmas?
Yeah, absolutely. So that was a big difference for me when I moved here because I was so used to our longer version of Christmas and having Christmas Eve on the 24th. Then we have Christmas Day, or let's say the first day of Christmas, and we have the second day of Christmas. So that's completely different here in the United States. So you have Christmas Eve on the 24th, and most offices are still open on Christmas Eve. So that's not a holiday that you would get if you were employed here. And then we only have Christmas Day, the 25th, as an actual holiday. There is no second day of Christmas, so it's much shorter. And yeah, that was definitely a big difference for me moving here and only having one day of Christmas and being much shorter.
Something I want to share from our German culture is that, like, usually, like we talked about Christmas Eve, so usually like all the stores in Germany are closing down by like 4 p.m. and everyone goes home, gets ready. Like, we're both coming from the south of Germany, so one of the traditional foods is like potato salad and Wiener, basically sausage. But like everyone has their own traditions. There's like we cannot generalize like potato salad and sausage for
Absolutely.
Christmas.
We actually never had that in my family. So I know a lot of people up north in Germany will have that too, but we never had that tradition either. We always had other foods for Christmas Eve.
How was it for you and your family in Germany?
Yeah, we have a few more traditions where I'm from. So like you said, I'm also from the south of Germany. So tradition that looking back now, I kind of miss not being home for the holidays is that we have the local music groups going from house to house on Christmas Eve, and they play carols in front of the houses. So that's definitely something we don't have here in the United States. So we always would get everything ready for Christmas Eve. We would help prepare the food. We would, run last minute errands. We'd listen to the carolers outside and the bands, and then we would get ready to go to mass in the afternoon of Christmas Eve. We usually go to the one specifically for children because they reenact the play, and it's always nice to see the children participate. And then we would always go over to a family member's house. We'd eat dinner, and eventually during that time, either while we were at church or while we were eating dinner, the Christkind, which is an angel, the Christ angel, would fly through the window and leave our presents under the tree. So that's a tradition that I grew up with. But same thing, you would get the presents on the 24th, and you would also unwrap your presents on the 24th.
And you pointed out like another major differences, because in Germany, like I'm not sure like how like younger families are celebrating now, but definitely most families having the Christkind coming into their house. And my grandpa always was ringing the bell, and that meant like that the Christkind just left the house again, and we could come in. So here in the United States, I mean, families know that like on Christmas that you celebrate like Jesus, the birth of Jesus, but there's no Christkind.
So here Santa comes, and I'm sure my daughter is going to have some stories to tell later of how she prepares for Santa's arrival. But yes, so here it's different. Santa comes in the night Christmas Eve. So he'll come late at night Christmas Eve, and he comes through the chimney and then leaves the presents under the tree. So when children wake up the next morning on Christmas morning, they usually get up super early because they know something good happened during that night, right? And then they find all their presents under the tree, and that's when they would unwrap their presents. So not on Christmas Eve, but on Christmas Day in the morning.
I would like to go back to the beginning of December, because in Germany, we also have the tradition of an advent calendar. And I know like it got popularized in the United States as well. And also this is another tradition like the Christmas tree, that the advent calendar is originally also from Germany. So I'm very proud we can share our culture. We have an Adventskranz, what's like a pine.
It's a wreath made of actual pine, like from like a Christmas tree. The branches, you would cut off some branches and you make a wreath out of it. And then we have the 4 real candles on it. And every first Sunday of Advent, we light 1 candle until we have all 4 candles lit. And that's when it's time for Christkind to come.
Yes. Kennst du den Spruch? Und wenn das 5. Lichtlein brennt, dann hast du Weihnachten verpennt.
Yeah, genau. Yeah. Yes, so true. I remember that.
So basically it means like if you light a fifth candle, you're too late to Christmas.
Yeah. So funny. Oh.
So in Germany, we have the Christkind markets, and they start with the first of the Advent. So basically the first Sunday of December or the last Sunday in November. Basically, it's a marketplace, right? Like people come and sell their food. We have like the traditional food, like crepes, what's like a very thin pancake. We can eat that with sugar and cinnamon or with Nutella and bananas. I love that.
So good.
So good. And we drink Glühwein, and Glühwein is like hot red wine with Christmas spices, and typical Christmas spices is like orange zest, I would say, cinnamon and sugar.
And it's really just a really nice version of a hot spiced wine that you can drink outside when it's cold out. And there's usually the version for the kids, like a punch, where they could not a punch the American way, but with no alcohol in it, but for kids, where it's just fruity and some apple and orange juice in there. So that's always really delicious too. But yeah, it's definitely, I love that feeling. And that's one of the things I miss a lot here is the Christmas markets and just walking through there, smelling everything, all the lights. And we have really nice ones in our area too, where they even have some medieval vendors. There's like a medieval Christmas market. So it's really nice. There's some Christmas markets in the US here too. I know in New York City, they recently started having a smaller Christmas market in one of the parks in New York City, but obviously it doesn't compare to our German Christmas markets.
Yes. And there are also some fun activities you can do, like during the Christmas time at the Christmas markets, like ice skating, or like you can make your own candles and decorate them. And
Yeah.
there are also like always like little booths where you can buy Christmas presents or
Mhm.
like jewelry. Like most of the times, the booths um, are selling like self-made stuff or
Yeah.
like from little store stuff. So it's not commercialized at all. It's like very local held. And I loved it about that because I think in the United States, Christmas is definitely like under the influence of a big marketing strategy.
Totally.
And maybe you know that, but here's a fun fact about Santa Claus, because Coca-Cola, one of the biggest companies everyone knows, um, actually started the tradition of Santa Claus because Santa Claus was a marketing object for them to sell Coca-Cola during the cold days. Because
Wow.
Coca-Cola was first like a summer drink, and their market almost broke down during the winter time because who's drinking cold drinks if it's cold outside? So they started with Santa Claus, and obviously now everyone knows Santa Claus, but
I did not know that. That's a cool fact. Thank you so much for sharing, Maren.
you're welcome. So in Germany, there's another big personality during like the Christmas time, especially for children, and he is called Knecht Ruprecht. And yes, he is like he sounds. He's
Dark,
like
dark guy.
Knecht Ruprecht is like a tiny, tiny, mean man who comes in like to Christmas events with a big book, and Knecht Ruprecht has this big book and is reading to the children about their bad behaviors, and then after he's deciding if the children are gonna get presents this year. And I remember like a major memory I have with Knecht Ruprecht is I was on a Christmas celebration with my parents and a lot of other friends, and Knecht Ruprecht came in the room and everyone was quiet, and then he opened his book and he said like Maren, and I was like maybe 10 years old, and I had to come up front, and he said like, oh, you behaved all right, but you have to make sure you're nice to your teachers and that you brush your teeth in the evening. And
Just
then
a childhood memory that will stay with you forever.
exactly. And then I had to sing him a song or like tell him something I like about Christmas. And he gave me his pardon and said like, okay, I can have Christmas presents this year. And here in here in the United States, we have another huge character, and he is green, and he's very mean also, and he doesn't like Christmas.
Yes, the Grinch.
The cringe. Exactly.
Hmm.
And then there's another tradition that started in the early 2000s. And this little tiny helper of Santa is called the elf. The elf on the shelf. And for everyone who doesn't know, the elf on the shelf, I'm going to give you a quick introduction into this tradition. So the elf is a little secretly helper of Santa who comes in the house a couple days before Christmas and is like observing the children in the house if they are behaving well, and the elf is reporting to Santa Claus. So there's one important rule for children, or like for everyone, for every human, that no one can touch the elf, because if you touch the elf, it's losing the magic, and then it can fly back to the North Pole and is not gonna report to Santa Claus, and you're not gonna get any presents from Santa. So better don't touch him. But something funny, and if you're listening this with your children, here, like, this is a warning, because I'm gonna explain how the elf is working. So, so every night, secretly, a parent is changing the elf's location. So, an example, in my host family, I was changing the elf every night, and one day I, for example, put it on the microwave and opened a cookie box and made it look like the elf was eating all the cookies and spreading like crumbs all around the kitchen. And in the next morning, the children come downstairs from their rooms and always are like excited. Okay, where's the elf today? What did the elf do? And since you can't touch the elf is going to stay in exactly the location with all the surroundings, with all the Christmas cookie crumbs around it until the next day. So it's a very fun activity to do with children.
I've seen some real funny ones recently too, where the elf was drawing faces on bananas or was making snow angels and flour that was spread out over the kitchen counter. He's doing all kinds of nonsense during Christmas time.
Yeah, so much nonsense. And here is a funny insight too, because if you accidentally touch the elf, there is a trick how to give the magic back to the elf. You have just to use a little cinnamon and put it over the elf, and the elf can fly again back to the North Pole.
Love that. I've never heard that before. That's really cool.
There's another tradition we don't have in Germany, but that's like very popular in the United States, and we all love it, to get mail, especially if you get like greetings from friends and families. And I would like you, Denise, to tell us a little bit more about this tradition.
Sure. If I would have known earlier, I would have brought my Christmas card, but I actually left it downstairs. But I just finished mailing all my Christmas cards this afternoon. So yeah, like you said, it's a big tradition here in the US where so many Christmas cards get mailed out every December. So you pick a picture, a nice picture that was taken during the year. A lot of families also take professional pictures that they use for their Christmas cards. You usually put the year on and the family name, and you mail it to all your friends and family. And we actually do the same. So we mail a big batch to all our friends and family in Germany. We mail a big batch to everyone here in the United States. And there's a whole market around it. Like, I just went to the post office, and the post office was all sold out of stamps already. The only ones they had left was with a little elf on, but usually there's all kinds of Christmas stamps specifically for the holiday season that you can mail them with, and people have their stamps where they put the address label on the envelope. It's a really nice tradition, and yeah, I love being part of it too, and sending a little something to all our friends and family.
I love that too. Another tradition that's like very popular in the United States is cookie exchanges. And for that, like, you meet with your friends and everyone brings like a bunch of self-baked cookies. And then you have your boxes and you pick like from your friends and exchange the cookies. And I think that's also such a beautiful way to show gratitude and exchange and meet during the Christmas time. And you said it earlier, some of the people for the Christmas cards taken pictures by a professional photographer, and also families like to take pictures with Santa, and not only with their children, but also with their pets,
With
and
the dogs
family
and cats,
pictures with
yes.
Santa. So if you're celebrating Christmas here in the United States, I'm sure you're gonna go to a mall and also take pictures with Santa Claus and your housekids.
Yeah, we love the Christmas card. So it's actually one of my children's favorite thing to do during December. So go to the mailbox and see what kind of Christmas cards we got. They open them up and then we have a string downstairs and we hang them all up and we see all our friends and family and all the cards they sent us.
Amazing.
You were talking about St. Nicholas before. So Nikolaus on December 6th, that's something we do too here because I'm trying to keep the German traditions and the US traditions. So they shine their shoes on the night of December 5th. Everybody takes their boots, they clean the boots, and then they put them by the door. And St. Nicholas will come and leave them some, you can come in. And St. Nicholas will come and will leave them some nuts and oranges and apples, some chocolates. And it's just really nice to keep that tradition alive too. And then looking back to Christmas as from a different perspective now, or as a mom, one of my favorite moments about Christmas now is actually Christmas Eve, where in the beginning it was so different for me because we didn't unwrap presents. But now that's one of my favorite moments about Christmas is because I get to sit down in the living room late at night on Christmas Eve when the children are all in bed already, and we usually have a fire that night in the chimney. All the stockings are hung by the fire, which you explained earlier. And it's just nice to sit there, look at the lights of the Christmas tree, and think about the next morning and have that moment of peace. That's one of my favorite moments about Christmas here in the US now. Kira can tell us a little now about how she prepares for Santa. What do you
Hi.
usually do the night of Christmas Eve?
We put out cookies and milk for Santa. At night, he comes and eats it.
Wow. That's magical.
She puts all kinds of cookies that we usually baked ourselves, right, on a nice plate. And what do you put next to it for him to drink?
Milk.
A big glass of milk because he's thirsty because he's going to a lot of houses on Christmas Eve. And do you put anything else outside?
We put carrots and oats for his reindeer.
For the reindeers. Wow.
Because
I love your outfit. Are you a little Santa's helper?
He's Santa's helper. What happens when you wake up on Christmas morning? Are the cookies still there, or where are the cookies?
Cookies are gone, and there are presents under the tree.
Yes, and there's magic in Christmas, right? Like that bell we got from the Polar Express.
Yeah.
That's so nice. So, what is your favorite thing about Christmas?
I don't know.
That's okay. I tell you my favorite thing about Christmas. I love decorating the Christmas tree and hanging up all the nice shiny ornaments and a star on top or an angel. And I really love this tradition. Yeah.
Love Kira's too. She loves decorating and she helps me. We put our Adventskranz, which another German tradition we like to keep, and we decorate the tree and she helps me decorate the house. We got lots of lights. And we also sometimes at night like to drive around through the neighborhood and look at all the houses that are decorated like crazy here in the US.
That must be so beautiful. Yes. You know, I want to tell you like my Christmas presents because I know Santa is coming, but I also like to give other people something like very special. And for this year, I thought about getting for my family and my friends Christmas pajamas.
Oh, nice. I love that.
So this is also a tradition a lot of families do, like on the 25th in the morning when all the kids get up and then Santa brought out presents that you get into your cozy Christmas pajamas and all sit together and then you can unwrap the presents. So who is going to start unwrapping the presents at your house?
Someone's going to get up really early, right? To check if the presents are under the tree.
Yes. So in my family, we have the tradition of a pickle. So we take out a pickle and put it on a hook, and then an adult has to hide it in the Christmas tree, and all the kids searching for the pickle. And since the pickle has the same color in the Christmas tree, it's so hard and challenging, and sometimes it takes a long time to find the pickle. But the person who finds the pickle the first can start unwrapping the presents.
I love that. I think we should start doing that too. Should we? Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your insights and your knowledge about Christmas here in the United States. I loved having you both here. And
Thank you.
Christmas is such like a sentimental holiday for a lot of us because it's right before the year ends. We can reflect. There's some time. We're spending time with our loved ones or like with very special people in our life currently. And I wish you and all your families blessings for Christmas and the holidays, even if you don't celebrate Christmas. Be open for the cultural exchange and spread the gratitude.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us, Maren. It's so nice to reflect also on the German traditions and the US traditions and really see the best of all worlds and come together and, like you said, be grateful, reflect back, and then start the new year and joy and full of energy.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
If you got inspired by this episode, please share with your friends and community. Give us a 5-star so others can learn about it, and we look forward to hear your feedback.
Our goal is to empower families and children with special or without special needs. And we are excited to learn more about you and to hear your inspiring stories.